Well then. Yeah, I don't want to talk about fantasy. So if we could all just not talk about fantasy, I wouldn't be mad about it. I don't know about you guys. What can I watch that? I can get you the name, Vrix. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but if you want, comment somewhere, comment on the video, comment somewhere, and I will find it for you. I need to just pin it somewhere so that we can have it, because I don't know. But hi. Yeah, what a night, man. Fantasy was bad. I didn't pick the cat. I would never pick the cat, Johnny. And I mean no disrespect to the cat. The cat is a nice, very nice man. I have met him. I've talked with him. I've talked shop with him. I've talked YouTube with him, etc., etc. I picked 3 guys that I was... No, that's not true. I picked 2 guys that I was very confident in, and 1 guy that I was a little risky on, but I didn't like anybody else. But I would never pick the cat. But I went in with 5, man. 5. I was 32 for 32 coming into the night, and I was 5 for 8 tonight. So that's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's always, there's always one round ready to undo all of the goodwill that you did. But I had Thrasher, so I got mega points out of Thrasher. I had Benny, so I got mega points out of Benny. Like, at least I salvaged, I don't know, it was 160 something, which is not a good round by any means. It's a terrible round, but at least I salvaged something by getting some sort of points somewhere. I'm gonna unplug that so it stops making that sound. I apologize in advance for that. So it is what it is. Hunter's last lap pass was amazing. You're not wrong. It was great. It was great. Man, what a night! What a night! Did we all see? We all saw Webb's win coming from about 8 seconds into the main event, right? Can we all just say that? The second that Webb got the start, you're like, oh, there it is. That's it. There, here. Like it was like the least. How do I word this? It was the least anticipating thing of my life. I just knew, and I was like, either, and if there was any chance of Sexton getting away, it was in the first like 2 minutes of the main event. Like, I needed Sexton to be gone, or else it was over, and it was over. So there it was. No, Jacob, I'm right there with you, because I had Thrasher, and I needed it because I only had 2 people in that main event, and I love the idea that even with 2 people, I was only like 4 points off of average, and I was like, you know what, maybe this night won't be so bad, and then it sucked up anyway. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I wish we could have seen it played out with that. I agree, Zaphod. I agree. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. What was it? Was it the lap before? It might have been 2 laps before. Webb got wild in the whoops, and I was like, "That's it, done. That was it. That was it for me." I was like, "All right, Webb made the mistake. He's just gonna get in behind him, take the second, bring the points back up closer to Eli, and we'll call it done." And then Sexton threw it away. So, kind of like he does, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to Chase's character or Chase as a writer, but we've seen that happen. We've seen that happen to Chase over and over again. It's always late in the race, and it's always some dumb, stupid, silly little mistake. It happens every single time. Raw Dog, thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Hashtag Webwagon. Who else is on the Webwagon? It's not me. It's not me. I've never met the guy, so I can't tell you that, oh, he's a nice guy. I don't know that, but he's not that. Did Adam crash again, V-Rix? Did he really? Let me pull up the results now that the broadcast is over. If for anybody wondering, I try to respect the broadcast by not starting it until at least the entire podium is done. So that's why we do the starting soon screen, and then I just silently put the broadcast up, and I watch it until the last person speaks, and then I do it. Man, rough one for sure. How about Cooper? You know what's wild is that, not Cooper, I'm sorry. Anderson and Barsha crashed on lap 1. Anderson on the ground, coming through traffic, passing 15 people, was only 4 seconds off of Tomac. I'm not saying we need to panic about Eli. Like, obviously he's won 3 of 5. But what do we make of this ride? What do we make of this quiet? This is vintage Eli Tomac, right? Like, 5th is still fine. This isn't a weird... for me, the weird, random Eli getting 8th from years past, this feels like that, because Eli has now elevated to being expected to win every race, so his bad race, I think, also gets a little bit of a bump in there, if that makes sense. AC went down after the whoops. Late in the race, he went down again. Weird. Should be a four-way title fight with Anderson. Yeah, and you know, and I hate it. I hate it so bad. I hate it because I watched it coming. I literally watched it. I watched them come out of the sand because we didn't get to see it on the broadcast, but I literally told Roto Wife when we were on the couch, I was like, Anderson hit Barsha. I know for a fact that Barsha was on the ground because I think me and her both had Barsha as our all-star, and I was like, I know for a fact Barsha's on the ground. I definitely didn't expect both of them to go down, but I knew for a fact Barsha was. And like, I think Ricky put it perfectly. What is the goal though? What is the goal there for Anderson? What were you hoping to happen? You come in hot, you take out Barsha for 7th place on the opening lap of the main event. Just what was the point of that move? It just made literally no sense. And without that move, I think Anderson beats Roxon. I think Anderson maybe beats Plessinger. And like you said, put Anderson in 3rd with Tomac in 6th. And all of a sudden, I think that gives Cooper the red plate, maybe 1 point off, and it's wide open. But instead that it doesn't go that way at all. So, I think Barsha is going to get some payback, and it will not be pretty. Oh, yeah, Wamba, and he does have it coming. They showed for a second, they showed Anderson and Barsha, and you could tell by the way that that Barsha was just coming into the corner that Barsha wanted it. It just didn't happen. Why can I only get this in low resolution? Yeah, it should be on your end because, let me see if I can see here. Yeah, it's available in 1080 on my end, so it must be on you. Bam Bam was already going down before Anderson ran into him. Look at it in slow-mo. Brandon, I'll have to. Well, to be fair, he went. And the thing was, Brandon, that because this is what I'm saying. Ricky said is that he took him so high. What was the point of doing that? And I get it. Let's be honest. What was the point of doing that? Let's talk about it. The point of doing that is you need to pass Barsha and clear him by a few bike lengths in one fell swoop. So Anderson needed to run him wider there than normal. But again, it just goes back to the same reason that I had a problem with Chiz taking out Norin in the LCQ last week. You can't make those kind of moves and put both of you on the ground. That does nobody any good. All it does is make an enemy. And the last thing that any of these people need on this track are more freaking enemies, man. It just makes no sense at all. Jason said, what about H-Law? That was a great ride. It really was though. It just sucks. And obviously I'm not taking anything away from Hunter's ride, but it really just sucks that Thrasher, I don't think Thrasher loses that if he didn't have 6 lappers in that section. And this could just be a difference in experience where Hunter obviously has way more experience running up front too, to be able to navigate those lappers better, because Thrasher just did not do well navigating the lappers. And I think Mitch posted that the difference in their final lap time was like 3 seconds, and that's incredible. I did like Thrasher's line of making contact with Hunter coming out of the sand. It might be a little greasy if we didn't watch Hunter test that line out like 4 times with Mosman, because he did. He was testing that line out the whole main event. So the fact that Thrasher actually used it on Hunter, I thought was some sort of poetic justice. I really appreciated that. TJ said Eli must have had something bugging him. He was off pace. Yeah, and it happens. And maybe and it's one of those things, if we don't know, because these guys don't talk, he could have been sick, could have been bike setup, he could have not liked the track. It could have just been that it's wet and he doesn't want to throw it away. Whatever it is, I hope we get beast mode Eli. I don't know. What do you guys think? We can't let Webb get on a roll. I think if Webb wins 2 in a row, he wins 7, right? Tomac, somebody needs to humble Webb back down, or Webb goes on a run, you know? Dylan said, really wish these guys shared more about what was going on. Yeah, and it's one of those, Dylan, where I fully expect in one of these podcasts that comes out, whether it be Swap or Pulp or Racer X or whatever, one of these podcasts, Eli's going to come out and say that it was bike setup, or he just wasn't feeling the track, or he was slick and he didn't want to throw away. And I'm like, just say that up front. You know what I mean? Jason Anderson. Oh, of course, Rob. Yeah, Jason Anderson's out of the title at this point. Corey said that depends on what Eli does. If he rides like tonight, it's Coop Show. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If Eli has another quiet night and Webb comes out and puts on a clinic, and let's be honest here, and I don't want to say whatever, Webb was kind of gifted this one. Sexton did what he had to do, and Sexton actually was fast enough to make Webb make the mistake first. That rarely ever happens. He had it locked down. All he had to do was put in 2 more clean laps, and he couldn't do that. And that's pretty much Chase Sexton in the 450 class, is if he could just put in 2 more clean laps, and he would be doing so much better. You know what I mean? Well, Eli was sick, guarantee it. He looked awful sitting on. That's what I was going to say, Kyle, is that when they showed him before the race, he just didn't look it. And there was a point where they showed him in the tunnel, I want to say before the heat race. He just didn't look good there either. I don't know. Broski asked, what are your thoughts on Simonson and Welton? So I will just say I'm a little bit biased here, and I'll put that up front because I had Welton in fantasy, so I'm a little bit biased. But I will say, and this will never happen, and I know Rubbin is racing and boo freakity who, I would like there to be some sort of rule that you need to at least be attempting to make the corner work. Simonson's primary goal was not to pass Welton. It was to push Welton off the track. And I still 100% think that you should not be encouraged, allowed, whatever language you want to use, to make your primary goal crashing the guy, not your primary goal to pass the guy. And if you happen to make contact, whatever. So, I mean, it is what it is. He didn't break any rules, whatever it is. I just wish, I would like to see riders attempt to make the corner. So, 395 said, how come 450 Heat 2 had virtually all? So 395, that's just how it shook out. We talked about it. The heats alternate, so whoever qualified first, third, fifth, seventh, ninth is in Heat 2, and who qualified 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. is in Heat 1. That just happened to be how it shook out tonight. It was definitely very weird that Heat 2 had 7 of the top 10 guys in points, and Ferrandis was out. So there was only, it was what, Anderson and AC in the top 10, and then everybody else. It was just so really weird. It was kind of a weird one. Corey said, I kind of agree Welton allowed him. Simonson pushed him off the track. If you're going to go that wide, the only thing that I will say, Corey, is I don't fault Welton too hard, because given how slick it was tonight, same thing with Thrasher by letting Hunter get by him, how slick it was tonight, I don't blame any of those guys for not having perfect bike control, because I think Welton might have been a mental mistake. But a factory guy like Thrasher, and you know, we can kind of call him a veteran now. He's been in the class 3 years. He knows to suck that inside up. They literally can't. If they could have, they would be doing that. But with how slick it is, I don't think they felt comfortable enough to slide in and take that corner, not fall down. And let's just say that second angle they showed of Hunter passing Thrasher, where he just power slides it in there, was so incredible. Like, the bike control of him sliding that in there. I'm not saying nobody could have pulled that off, because I don't think Hunter is like a above everybody scenario, but like, that was an incredible move that I don't think a lot of people could have pulled off. You know what I mean? What was it, 250 time? 0.13, Michael. 0.13. TJ asked, how do they determine who races each heat? So, TJ, they do timed qualifying, which you can watch on Peacock ahead of time. Race Day Live starts 5.5 hours before the race does. So tonight it was at 7 Eastern. Race Day Live started at 1:30. And it's just who can put the fastest lap time. So Sexton put the absolute fastest time out of everybody. So he gets the very first gate pick in second heat. And then they just alternate down the heatways like that. Vic said, gave me flashbacks to Roxon. Yeah, that's true, Vic. That's true. I feel that for sure. Roxon and Webb in Arlington. Was that 2019, I think? Joey said, I wish everyone wouldn't be injured. I think Shimoda would. Oh, for sure, Joey. I would love to see Hammaker and Shimoda and even Swole. I would have loved to see what Swole could do. But it wasn't meant to be, which sucks, you know? Andre said, crazy Thrasher still 7th at points. Yeah, because would he get 15th in the first one? Ugh. JD said, seriously though, Deegan did well. He did. He got 4. I mean, he won the heat. Can we just say, and I said this again, I said this to Roto Wife when we were on the couch. I said, when he whole shot the heat race, I was like, he either this is the make or break moment. Like, this will set the tone for the rest of his, I don't want to say like his career, but you know what I mean? He gets this lead. What does he do with it? Oh my God, Dan got 102 points. I don't even want to say it any longer. I don't even want to say it any longer. RotoWife, LOL. Dutch, that was her Twitter tag. So it's easier saying that rather than saying like her name or whatever. Um, Gio said, I honestly thought Thrasher had the win. Yeah, I did too. And I did too. And again, going into that last lap, because was it the next to last lap, Thrasher actually gained like 0.3 of a second back on Hunter. And I was like, all he has to do is navigate this lap traffic, and he just wasn't able to. Jacob said, Hunter is so much better than the rest of the field. It's demoralizing. You're not wrong, though. You're not wrong. He really is. There really is that big of a gap. I was hoping that Anstie maybe could have done it just for the point of being a veteran, just a crafty veteran. And, you know, if the track would have got nastier today, I think he would have did well. But Hunter caught Anstie and just blew right by him. And I was like, wow, that's not good. That's not good. And his interview was shorter. Vic, you're right. He's getting better. Bad Dog said, off subject, did Racer X pick you up? So Bad Dog, I've been working with Racer X since November. It is just a temporary contract. It's just I'm a contract. I'm not even an employee. I'm contracted with them to do a few videos a week for the Supercross season, and we'll see what goes on from there. So yes and no. I am not on the payroll. I am not at the level. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm peers with them, but I am on the meetings on Monday mornings with Weege and Kellen and Tom and Mitch and the crew, which is really, really cool. So it's nice. It's nice. Hopefully it goes well. Sell out. That's me for sure. But I did Zaphod. I want you to know that I went out of I gave up a little bit. I gave up a little bit to continue to still do Roto. So you know, I could have went full sellout, but I didn't yet. Live stream meeting, just don't tell them. There you go. There you go. You are an expert, though. I consider you an expert. Vic, I appreciate it. I really do. Matthew said Anderson's issue is that Kawasaki is a rear steering bike. If you watch the crash, he tried to steer with the rear and his rear tire hit Barsha, which caused this crash. I would agree with you, Matthew, if it was an isolated incident. And that's where I am here, is that for me, if something is an isolated incident, I can chalk it up to like, you know, things happen. But this isn't, though. This is like the third time this year already that Anderson has gotten himself in trouble making contact he didn't mean to make. Oh man, Vic, I was in top 500 2 weeks ago, and now I'm almost to 3,000. Ew. Am I at least doing well in the admin league? I guess I can switch over to this screen, and I'll scoot over on this side of the thing a little bit. Admin league. Okay, I'm still in there, but JT's pulling it. JT's pulling me. Oh, he only did 200. None of us did well. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I kind of tanked my score a little bit, but I did it knowing, because if I'm being honest, I got my national number this year. It has eluded me for years. I have been just outside of the top 100 for the last 3 years. So me getting my national number is my big thing. What I want to do is I want to win the lead pipe locks, and I want to beat these turds right here. So when I was setting my team and I saw that everybody had Freddie, I switched to Freddie. Because I was like, I'm not going to lose points to them by me not picking Freddie. If everybody's going to take Freddie, then I don't mind if I get the 0 because they all get the 0 too. I also felt confident with Freddie, but that was ultimately my decision, is that I'm almost at this point. I will always give you guys the advice that you need to help you, like good picks, solid. But for me, I am specifically looking to beat these guys. So I'm playing a little differently. Mark said 10,579 championship teams entered. The median score was 184. So if you scored 185 or more, you did better than half the people. Only 51 people picked Thrasher for FFL. Only 30% of teams had all 8 guys. That's not great. That's not a good one. Stylus said, how come Cianciarola didn't get double points? So AC's handicap was a 1. So he needed to get 11th to get double points. And unfortunately for AC, he got 12th. So if he would have passed one more person, he gets double, but that's how it works. You have to get within your handicap of 10th place to get it. So that was the thing. Cacti said, in the last few weeks, I've moved to playing very safe. That's what I normally do, Tiger. That's what I normally do. That's why I was 32 for the first 32 this year. And again, this week, I kind of threw it away. I had full faith in Welton, though. Jack Chambers was my wild pick, and I shouldn't have done it. I didn't do what I normally do. Today was a very stressful day. I've been spread very thin since taking on the Racer X thing. If you guys don't know, like, I made 2 videos for Roto this week, 2 videos for Racer X this week, 3 videos for PulpShow, 1 video for Pulp Fantasy. I had to put together like 5 Instagram reels. I had to do a podcast. Like, I did so much shit this week. Excuse my language for anybody that has kids in the room. That today I was like, I just didn't have a clear head. I was an hour late to starting qualifying. It just wasn't a good day for me. Can I just say I am done with Benny Bloss? Not because he burned me. He didn't burn me. But I think the problem was that he lost to Josh and Justin Hill. And I don't think he crashed. Benny qualifies really well, but for me, even at an 11, I need to know that he could score better than that. But I just don't think that he's got it all now. You know what I mean? Bloss Crash was looking good. Should be better than Hill Brothers. Well, because I know he was up in like 6th or 8th, and then he went down to like 12th, and I was like, nah, that's fine. And then he just kept going. So Hill Brothers smoking that wild card energy. Dylan, you right though. You right. Went for 8 is great today and was pleasantly surprised to get it. That's the worst part, Corey, is that I got 100. I almost outbeat you with 5. I got 161. That's just how it works sometimes. I just want you guys to know that I hope that none of you guys take fantasy too seriously. It should be fun. It should be fun. As much as I am not in a great mood because I only got 5 in, at the end of the day, I don't care, man. It's not that big of a deal. Like, do not be messaging riders. I don't know if you guys saw A-Ray's tweet last week about people. Just don't message riders. Just stop messaging riders. They don't care. All you're going to do is make them hate us. So please stop. That's all that I got. That's all that I got. Zaphid said, James in the booth is fun. Y'all catch the tweet comment? I did, yeah. I will say, I like James in the booth a lot. I will say, I think he relies a little too much on catchphrases. If I have to hear him say far east like one more time when Joe Shimoda's on track, I think I might vomit. But, you know, welcome back, Paul. Yeah, no, we get it, Tell. We get the joke. 250 lost points on Hunter's Pass. That's harsh, Joel. I'm sorry. It always kind of sucks though when you do well, but you could have done better. RC also said, we all know that Savachi doesn't want to be in the main event. And even RotoWife was like, he doesn't want to be in the main event. And she was like, he means LCQ, right? And it's sad. It's sad when a filthy casual knows more than you do, and you're the GOAT. You know what I mean? There were a lot less on theirs from JS than I would have expected. That's fair. A-Pain said, thoughts on Deegan and will he get a podium soon? No, and I'll tell you why, Pain. This isn't fair, but I'll tell you why. We go west next week for Oakland for the makeup race. So when we come back the week after that, I would expect some of the hurt guys to come back. So with all due respect, I think he's making strides, and I think he can end up on the podium currently. I think he could beat Anstie and Thrasher on any week. I don't know then if he beats those and he beats Shimoda, who should be back, and he's beating those other guys. Like, maybe I wouldn't be shocked, but I think that this was his week to do it if he was going to do it. Zaphod said, I was just looking at the lap times. Deegan's late race lap times are very impressive. For sure. Yeah, I agree. Vic said, did we get a neck burn? I don't think so, Vic, but if I'm being honest, by the time the last lap is rolling around, unless there's like a battle, I'm already in here setting stream up. So I don't think so. Oh, I'm kind of like off the screen a little bit. There we go. Oh, those announcers cursed so many riders today. You're not wrong though. Gio said, I'm liking the E series way more than the 250 West series already. I think I like the East because even though it's weaker, and I'm going to preface this by saying I still think Hunter is incredible. I don't think Hunter is as dominant as Jet. Like, Hunter against a weaker field, I still think is a closer fight than Jet versus a stronger field. Does that make sense? Great commission. Got my first rig. Nice, dude. 5900 3080. That's a good one. Are you going to be doing any editing with all of that RAM, or did you just go for broke because you liked it? Stepwhite said, is Roto Wife hot? Asking for a friend. I'm basement. I'm so basement. I am incredibly basement. I am just like all the other ones. Jacob asked, any prizes for winning the Roto League? No prizes, Jacob. We did the first year, but now we're just doing the now we do the Patreon giveaways because I think that's just, it's more fun. It's more fair, I think. I would rather do giveaways so that everybody has a chance to win rather than only reward the people that do the best, because ultimately I would rather people have fun with fantasy than be miserable but with a prize in hand. You know what I mean? It says Hunter rarely wrecks at Supercross. He wrecked in qualifying though. He wrecked in the start of all things. His starts were not great. We got a neck burn. Nice, Kyle. Nice. Deegan is so fast. He is, Michael. He is. And again, like both weeks, his lap times have been impressive. He hasn't made any mistakes. I'm gonna chalk up maybe his struggles in futures is that he had to ride a stockish bikes. Like the bike that they have for futures is a much more stock bike than what he probably rides all the time. They're not gonna have him practice on a stock bike for that one futures race. That doesn't mean anything. They want him to be ready for the pros. So maybe that's what it is. Dan said they have to fix timing and scoring. Dan, it was so bad, especially that first heat race that I told the wife, I was like, I'm not even going to look at the sidebar because I will have no idea. I have no idea. I'll just wait until the end and find out how my fantasy guys did. It's not even worth looking at. It's bad. It's bad. Last week, I'm going to go and look and see if they did it this week. Last week, they did. So you guys might not have noticed this, but if you want, I'll show you how to find this in case you want it. If you go to results.amasupercross.com, you can look at all of these. They're just available for anybody to look at. But if you go to track map, they normally used to only have 3 splits. So they would have section 1, section 2, and section 3. Now they're doing 5 splits, which is really, really cool. So from the start to the whole shot line, or like at the whole shot line is the start of split 1. So now we can see what are people's lap times from here to this point, from here to the end of the whoops, which that one's always really telling. Then like here to this, then here. I don't know why this one's so long, etc., etc. So then you can go and look, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is let's go and look for Deegan. If we do fastest segment times, this sorts by segment. So as you can see here, Thrasher was the fastest in segment 1, second in segment 2, third in segment 3, second and second. So Nate Thrasher, and again, this isn't averages, this is the absolute fastest, was first, second, and second. Hunter Lawrence isn't anywhere near there, but that's the difference, is that Thrasher is that fast. Hunter actually isn't that high on any of these. Where is Hunter? Why is it he's missing? God, oh God, guys. You had one job. AMA, you have one job. Where are the other 4 guys? Anyway. Oh, that is the heat race. Thank you. So Hunt, all right, that's better. All right. So Mosman was killing segment 1, but where was he the other one? Like he's all the way down here. Last week when Sexton was losing all that time to the sand to Tomac. Sexton was fastest in 3 of the 5 sections, but the other 2, he was 13th. 13th, dude. That bad. All the way down there. But another thing you can do is if you go to individual segment times, that will show you, so you can look by rider. So in this example, let's look at Thrasher. No, you know what? Let's do 450. Let's do Webb and Sexton because that'll be more relevant. If we do individual section by Webb, it's down here. So here are his average times right here to get to his lap time. And then you can go and look at Sexton's and you can compare these. I wish I could do it side by side, but I don't have that set up right now. And you could see specifically what sections was Sexton making up time versus what sections were other people do. You know what I mean? Who was the fastest in the sand? What section was that? Do you remember? The sand was this one. So section 5. In the 450 class, segment 5 was Chase. Cade was having a struggle. Honestly, is that not incredible that Chase Sexton is a solid 2 seconds faster than Cade Clayson in just that section from the beginning of the sand to the finish line? Is that not ridiculous? That is incredible. 2 whole seconds is wild, you know? Tell it said Webb surprisingly looks good in the whoops. Actually, now that you mention it, let's go and find out. What section was the whoops? The whoops was section 2. Exclusively. All that was in section 2 was that 353 into the whoops. Sexton again. Webb was 5th, which isn't bad. Honestly, for a guy that is bad at the whoops, he was 5th. He was faster than AC. Barsha, Tomac. Ooh, that's not good. Tomac is down there. I will say though, Tomac had the best section 1. Cooper. Justin Cooper the fastest through section 3. That's an interesting one. Drew said, please talk about the massive improvements at the beginning of the broadcast. The anthem, opening ceremonies, having the new secondary panel. The only thing that I will say though, Drew, is for us hardcore fans, I think that was neat. I don't really care about opening ceremonies for what it's worth, so I'm a little bit biased. But as a casual, I don't think people want to sit there and watch 30 minutes of nothing. I do like that our sport, unlike every other sport, the action starts practically right away. There's not a lot of fluffing. You don't have to do the coin flip and all of that. Like we get right into it, and I like that. But, you know, it was still neat. I didn't mind it being included. Isaac said, why was nobody else using it? It's slick. You got to remember, too, is that it's easy for us to say why isn't rider A, or why didn't anybody do this, or why didn't Sexton take the inside of that sand or the outside? He was losing so much time. These guys are ultimately gonna do what's comfortable because they would rather lose 1/10 of a second every lap than lose 7 seconds for wrecking, kind of thing. So I don't know how many guys felt, if any, felt comfortable doing that line every lap the whole time. You know what I mean? How can Star deny J Coop for the test of the year? For the rest of the year. Michael, it might be a budget thing. And let's be honest, Michael, they want him to be healthy for 250s because he is the only shot I think Star has of being able to nab a title this year is Cooper outdoors. They're not going to win a Supercross title in either class. And I don't think anybody they have is quite ready to step up and compete for a title outdoors. So that might be that preservation. But if Ferrandis, which I expect Ferrandis to be back next week, but if Ferrandis doesn't, maybe they do keep him around just so they have those 2 bikes on the track. I'm sure the sponsors really like having that. Great Commission asks, what happened to Eli 1 tonight? Looked like one was funky. And it really did. It really did. And we talked about maybe he was sick. Maybe it was the bike setup. Maybe he just didn't feel comfortable in the slick. But whatever it may be, especially as he gets up there in age, every year that passes, these guys are less wanting to put their bodies on the line. And Tomac is uncharacteristically already crashed twice in the first 4. With this track being pretty technical for as basic as it felt, and it being wet and slick like that, he might have just not wanted to push like that, and he was just comfortable coming in, getting 5th, taking the red plate into the next round, you know? Zaphod asked, did Hunter wreck Mosman, or did Mosman fail to check up? I think it was a no-fault thing. Hunter did not wreck Mosman. I just don't think there's anything Mosman could have done differently there. He was just in a really bad spot. He was already really high on the berm before Hunter got there, and there was just really nowhere for him to go. It didn't feel like, I'll have to watch it again in slow-mo, but it didn't feel like Hunter, brake checked and held him up too long or anything. It just Mosman just didn't have anywhere to go, and Hunter took the line that Hunter wanted to take. So it was just, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Jacob is right. Mosman failed to see the obvious move coming, yeah. Noah said Tomac seemed off in the pre-race interview. That's what I'm saying. Like, the whole night, Eli just didn't have, because he's been so, like, excitable this year, uncharacteristically, like, excited to talk and stuff, and it just wasn't there. Tella said Mosman should have checked up. I think ego gets in the way of a lot of these people, too. Like, maybe Mosman would like to think that there was a moment, I can't remember who it was, and it might have been Hunter and somebody, that it was for position. It was for, like, 5th place. And the person just let Hunter go. And you might say, a lot of people might say, AC earlier in the year, of like, why would he just pull over and let him around? Why's he doing that? There's no point in fighting a guy that you know you can't beat. So if we're only 3 minutes into a main event, does Jace Owen actually think he's going to hold off Hunter Lawrence for 13 minutes? No. There's no point in fighting that fight, wearing yourself out for a position that you are absolutely going to give up. So Mosman might think that he is on Hunter's level. Mosman or the team or whatever, the expectations on him, for whatever reason, Mosman in that moment wasn't prepared to let Hunter go. And that ultimately is what caused him to go down. You got to know when the person is just better than you. And I feel like right now, as anticlimactic as it is, the Lawrence brothers are just on another level. And without Shimoda, without Forkner, like without a lot of those other guys missing, there just really isn't anybody around there so that could do it. So I guess just it's hard as a racer. Like, I don't know how many of you guys raced at a higher level. Like, I raced as a kid, I went and did amateur nationals and all that stuff, and it's hard to admit at some point in your life that you're just not that good, that you're not as good as these people, because that hasn't happened to these people a lot in their lives. So it's got to be hard to just accept that and let the guy go by, even if they're faster than you. Zaphod said if Hunter had not made that pass right there, that's true too. He would not have had enough time to be able to do it. You are 100% right. Dan said, I didn't appreciate the move that Hunter put on Hayden, but Mosman was 100% at fault. I will have to watch it back, Dan. I don't remember the move that he put on Hayden, so I can't comment on it. Pinku said, Hunter's last drive has me emotional. That freaking dude, yeah, that's the thing, is that watching it live in like real speed wasn't that impressive to me, but watching it in that slow-mo from that alternate angle, he went in for broke, and obviously Hunter knew he had the gap, that if he would have fallen over, he could have easily picked his bike back up and still got second. So he had nothing to lose there. But yeah, the way he slid his bike onto the inside of Thrasher, I was just like, oh my God, what a move. That was incredible. That was definitely the move of the night. I know that they do something Supercross does. They post like, I don't know, move of the night, whatever it is. And that's gotta be it. Regardless if it was for the lead or not, it was just too sweet. West Mountain said, "Do you think Tomac is injured?" I don't think he's injured. No, I think he's. I think, like we said earlier, he's more likely sick or something, or he just didn't have it today. It happens sometimes. Tell it said, "Did anyone think that 5 minutes ago Hunter would catch Thrasher?" I didn't. Honestly, no. I was like, maybe. Here's the deal. Tell it when he got around Anstie for third, it was like 5.8 seconds or whatever, and I told the wife, I said he needs to shave off 1 full second here, and this lap he needs to shave off a whole second if he wants to catch Thrasher, and he only shaved off like 4/10, and I was like, nope, he's got it. As long as Thrasher doesn't make any mistakes, Hunter will not catch him, because Hunter's going for a title, and as much as he wants the win, Thrasher is of no threat to him. He already got 15th in the first race, blah, 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 blah. But that last lap was almost 3 seconds, like 2.8 seconds in one lap. And again, a lot of that was from the lappers, and I don't want to blame the lappers. It could also just be that Thrasher doesn't have that much experience running up front, dealing with that many lappers. Whatever it may be, the lappers definitely gave him that extra little boost that he needed to chase him down. Venice said, "Why doesn't Chiz do better?" I think the problem, Venice, is that nothing against Chiz, but the class is stacked right now. It is a deep field. It is a lot of guys that are good. No, we don't have a lot of injuries yet. I know we're down Dylan and Muskin, but that's still not that many. I just don't think. I think that we forget. We see Chiz do really well, but we forget that by the time we hit round 8, 9, and 10, most of the years, we're already missing. Like AC has been hurt, Roxon being hurt. Webb has been hurt. Well, not hurt, but off his game. Dean's been out. Malcolm's been out. Like, there's so many people that have been out that give him those spots to move up and get that 14th, 15th, 16th every week, and we're just not there yet. I fully expect by the end of the year, Chiz will be chizzing well into the teens, because he rides in a way where he just hits his marks, keeps it simple, rides his race, and passes the people. But we're just not to that point yet. You know what I mean? Aaron said, "If Hayden didn't slow the finish line, do you think there would have been Jet Forkner type crash?" Nah, I mean, maybe, but I will just say, Aaron, that props on him for making that move. It was definitely a veteran type and aware. It was just a veteran level of awareness to know to roll the finish line, and I'm obviously glad nobody got landed on in that instance, because that's always very scary. But yeah, I mean, good on Hayden for knowing to just back again, knowing that he is not gonna hold up Lawrence and just letting him go. RA said Dino looked better. The thing that I hate though, Dino, or that I hate RA, is that yeah, he did, but the results don't show it. It's just sad when Dean got the start that he needed, but he still ended up 15th. Yeah, 8th place start, and he ended up 15th. Like, that just hurts so bad. Rumor is Tomac is sick. I haven't heard anything, so that's all we got right now is rumor. Borden said, Deegan is legit, but extremely loose. He's going to end up... I agree with you to an extent, but 2 rounds in, and his lap times have been very tight, very consistent. So it's hard for me to... I don't know. It's hard to judge loose when a guy is that tight. I'm looking again right now, and for the second week in a row, Hayden Deegan has the tightest. Yeah, second tightest lap times behind Hunter. Hunter's fastest lap of the night was a 50.1, and his slowest was a 52.7. So from Hunter's best to worst lap was only 2.6 seconds. Second place was Deegan, and it was only... No, Deegan's is better. Never mind. It's about the same. 2.63 for Lawrence, and Deegan's is 2.58. So there you go. Deegan has the most consistent lap times. That's actually crazy. 2 weeks in a row that has happened. What's the latest on Mumford? Corey, so I don't want to say anything with certainty because I don't know, but if you guys watched my video from last week, rumor mill has that he is hurt. I don't know enough to comment beyond that, but rumor mill says yeah. Zaphod said Craig being an 11th place guy isn't surprising. And that's what I said last week too. Like I hate it. I hate it because I want more out of him. I think he could deliver more, but yeah, Christian Craig just repeatedly getting 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12. And I'm like, who does he beat? I wouldn't be surprised to see him beat Cooper and Savachi. But that's still only 8th. But I think on an average week, he doesn't beat AC. And if you throw Malcolm, Marv, and Dylan back in there, that puts Craig back some. So it's kind of there. You know what I mean? Payne said, "What about Clayson's aggressive pass on Hill at the finish?" So that's the thing is that I mean, if I didn't like Simonson's pass on Welton because he never attempted to not make contact. He specifically went into that corner with the intention of not just. He had to put Marshall on the ground or push him off the track. And I still think that that's greasy. I don't like that. I think you should at least, if you can get yourself turned enough that you're still going for the finish line, and if they fall, they fall. But Clayson's was a little bit more in that. But I mean, I don't know why Hill left that door wide open. Hill's a veteran, man. He's been around for a long time. He should know not to do that. Zaphod, I did not see AJ's crash. I didn't know. Aaron said Deegan is riding smart and racing his own race, letting the track come to him. Yeah. And again, I don't say like you can't teach that, but for Hayden to have that at 17, to have that ability, having his lap times be that consistent, and he just go out and ride his race at this young, how does he not live up to the expectations? He's just quietly putting together, like somebody said, 3rd in points after 2 rounds. Like, it's incredible. It really is. I thought he was going to do well, but I thought Hymas would do better than him, if I'm being honest. Hymas has more experience. He raced all futures all of last year, et cetera. But so far, it's hard. It's got to be so infuriating for the Deegan haters that not only has he been good, but he's been consistently good. And he whole shot the heat. He led the heat. He won a heat. Like it's just been ridiculous, if I'm being honest. Does ANC race 450 at Oakland? No, Johnny. I think that team is still hopeful that he could be a title contender if something happens with Hunter, if he has a bad race or whatever it is. So I don't think that team would want to jeopardize that by putting ANC on a 450 and risk him getting hurt. No Control said Deegan has nothing to lose. He doesn't have to perform to feed himself next year. That's true. That is very true, especially at Star. We've seen it. We saw LeBlanc. We've seen Jarrett Fry. We've seen these things. It's bad. Corey said, agreed. I definitely would have bet on Hymas being better than Deegan this year. Yeah, I did not even say better. Like, I just more consistent, a little bit more poised, maybe would be a way to say it. Why did we already talked about it, so I'm not going to go into it too much, West, but no, it was dumb. It was a dumb move. With Tomac having a bad night, Anderson could have just got by him simply and probably caught and passed AP. And I'm not saying that would have put him back in the title hunt, but that would have made up points he needs to make up. And instead, he's even more points back. I don't know. It just wasn't great. It just wasn't a great move at all. Aaron said, you learn more from logging laps consistently rather than pushing the issue and get sideline focus on getting a podium. Oh, yeah. Also, Marks, I was joking earlier and asked him how many people had 5 in the main asking for a friend. 1,363, including me. I was one of the 1,100 people that had every single person in the main event after 4 rounds. And not anymore. Jacob, I don't know what happened with Hicks, man. I'm not gonna say I'm happy about it, but I had him in fantasy last week and he didn't do good. And him going up to a 10 handicap, I was like, oh man, he's gonna crush it. And he looked not good again. And it's not that bike, because Henry Miller is riding that bike just fine. And Hicks was doing incredible in Arena Cross. I believe he's leading the points in his series. Um, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have it. Yeah, the timing thing, Jose. Yeah, the timing has been, it's been not good. It's been not good at all. It's the one thing that they really need to get together. And I don't know what it is. Like, I just like to relent when, when we go into coding and things like that. I don't know how it works. So I'm not even going to try to criticize it too hard, because I don't know how to fix it. I can't make it better. I don't know anything about it. But tonight, there was a point where, like 5 laps to go, and it said that Webb was in third, down 11 seconds. And I was like, did we miss a crash? Did Webb crash and we somehow didn't know? And then no, like, it was fine. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's rough. If it's not gonna work, pull it down. That's really it for me. If it's not gonna work, pull it down. Well, and that's the thing, no control. But no control, you know what makes me the most upset is, and I'll have to ask Marks, is that the TV timing is not good, but the timing on the Pulp website works flawlessly every night. And I just want to know, what the hell is the TV crew using that never works, when the Pulp fantasy site, which is built by one man that is criminally underpaid, how does he make it work? Feld needs Travis Marks, is all that I'm saying, uh it's bad. Yeah. Well, in RH, the thing that made me the most upset was when they were talking about Hardy Munoz being in the LCQ, and I'm like, making it, yeah, I'm sorry, they talked about Braswell being in the LCQ, and I'm like, he's not in the LCQ. Hardy got penalized. Braswell's in. How did you not relay that? What would have been a really good idea was to maybe when you come back from commercial to say, we have an update. Hardy Munoz, who did get 9th for the final spot, actually didn't. And instead, Braswell made his very first main event on this penalty. And nope, they didn't do that. They literally just left Lee out to dry, reporting fake news, having no idea what was going on. And like, it even said he was in this LCQ and he was not on the LCQ. It was bad, Travis can't build an app, but he can do timing and scoring. If he was paid appropriately, the app would be done. Braswell was listed as timing and scoring. That was the thing, is I was like, guys, what are you doing? Maybe that's why, what I didn't think about it, RA? What if that's why they pulled down timing and scoring on the LCQ? Because they didn't even have Munoz on that thing when the LCQ started. So maybe that was the problem. And they just said, pull it down because we don't even have that guy loaded into the system. But again, I don't know anything about it. I don't know how the TV broadcast works. I don't know how the timing and scoring works inside. I don't know. So I don't want to be, I will say when it sucks, but I'm not going to be too critical because I don't know how to fix it. So blame Apple. Yeah, it's Apple's fault, obviously. Obviously. It's fake news. It was fake news, Michael. Oh. But yeah, Travis is the man. Shout out to Travis Marks. My hero, Travis Marks. I love the shots at Steve. Oh, it's not a shot at Steve. It's just my love and admiration for my good friend Travis Marks. I hope he's listening tonight, and all of this love that I'm showering on him. Maybe if Steve gets me into the studio. He's offered, by the way. He's offered. Steve has offered me to come out. It just hasn't worked up yet. Venice said, why do we even need an app? I don't know, Venice. People like having apps. We had a person literally complaining about they couldn't access the podcasts. And it's like they're literally on the website, and you can also get them through iTunes or Apple or Android Play, whatever it's called. I don't know, man. I don't understand. They even said if Webb wins. I know, Tim, because I was like, the points were close, but I was like, I don't think it's that close. I think if Sexton would have won, he could have taken the red plate, but I don't think it was Webb, no. What's up with McElrath? I don't know, Zaphod. I will say, I normally I would say maybe he's not gelling with the Suzuki, but if we're being honest, he didn't look incredibly good at the end of last year either on the club bike, and we know that club bike is good. So I don't know, maybe there's another issue with him. Can't build an app. He's always listening. Always listening. Isaac said we should pass a hat around to have Marks fix the timing and scoring. Could you, okay, legitimately, Mr. Travis Marks, sweetie, do you think that you could fix, from your knowledge of what you know with timing and scoring on the Pulp website, do you think that the issues on the broadcast could be, what is the issue? Like, why doesn't it work? How can you make it work and they don't? Is there a barrier that we don't understand? Us simple people that we just don't understand? None of the Suzuki guys by Kenny are doing great. But I will say, Tiger, that it's hard to say that because I don't expect Chiz to be doing much better than he already is. Again, I think Chiz, and we also have to remember that he's not going to be able to Chiz forever. Even the great Chad Reed started going downhill at a certain age. So I think that Chiz is riding. I think that Chiz could be on any bike right now, and he would be right around where he is now, maybe plus or minus 2 spots. I don't know. If that bike is so bad, I will just spicy take here. If the Twisted Tea Suzuki is actually that bad, and if it is actually the reason why Chiz and McElrath are not doing well, then that is just a testament to how good Ken Roczen is, that he is being held back by that Suzuki and still being able to finish in the top 5 in 4 out of 5 races to open the season. Will Nichols get to ride outdoor? No, Zaphod, he's not. That was never part of the deal. Nichols was signed for a Supercross only deal from the get-go. He knew the deal, that he was just keeping that HRC seat warm for Jet. So definitely not going to be happening. No Control said, I'm a software engineer. My guess is that they're suing some apps on the broadcast they are using for all other motorsports and have some hacky way to feed in. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Ross said, does Roczen get a win this season? At the beginning of the season, I would have said yes. But as of now, I'm going to say no. I just don't see him beating all 3 of Sexton, Webb, and Tomac in the same night. I don't know. It hurts me to say that. I want him to win. I want Suzuki to win. I would love for Suzuki to win. Like, I'm not even like a big Suzuki fan. I just think Suzuki's look incredibly good. I don't know, man. I just think yellow dirt bikes look really cool. But I just don't think so. And he has to beat Anderson too. You know, I think there's too big of a gap between Kenny, Sexton, Webb, and maybe Anderson. I agree. Zaphod said AP looks really good. Better every week, and I love it. Yeah, I mean, we get East Coast and he shows up. I don't think that, I mean, I don't know. I would love to see AP win, but I don't think that happens. I don't think he gets that much of a bump. I just think that it would take a lot of help for anybody to beat Sexton, Webb, Tomac, and Anderson all in the same night right now. Does Tomac ride outdoors? Isaac, I'm going to say no. Like, let's be honest. He has the red plate right now. He's still the favorite for the championship, but he's gone 1-1-1, 6 and 5. He's had 2 pretty scary crashes already this year. And again, with him having a family now, him having kids, I just feel like with every little struggle, and if any of you guys feel me here with any of your hobbies, of like every little struggle that comes along, you're just like, you second guess it. So I sold my dirt bike, or I didn't have a dirt bike for a long time. I raced up until I was about 12. And then I actually, like, I rode 4-wheelers for a long time because my stepdad was into 4-wheelers. Anyway, long story, I didn't have a dirt bike for a very long time. So when I got a dirt bike again, in my like very late 20s, it was just so wild how much different my body was. Like every time I went out, I would get banged up. I would get hurt a little bit. And it just made me less excited to go riding the next time because I had to wait for it to, for me to feel better and blah, blah, blah. And then I go out there and then you're riding timid because you're like, I don't want to get hurt because now it's expensive. You know what I mean? Like it only gets more expensive as you get older. And I'm obviously not trying to compare my experience to Eli Tomac, but I think he's ready for a nice fitting end. And I think even if he doesn't win, another really good title fight indoors would be the perfect way to cap off his career, you know? Ashton says, does Ken Roczen race outdoors? I don't know, Ashton. So from what I've heard, my understanding is that Ken will have the option when it comes time if he wants to do World Supercross or outdoors. I would expect him, if he thinks he can be legitimately competitive, and I don't mean like a title competitor, but just I think if Roczen and his team think that Ken can legitimately contest for race wins outdoors, they would like to have him outdoors. But if they don't think he's there, if he slots in right where he is now, where he's going to be a 3 to 6 guy every night, then they would all probably rather have him go to World Supercross, get paid by that big pool purse that they have over there, win another title, blah blah blah. So I think that's where it would be, Andre, that's a good point. Yeah, Cooper Webb tied Ken Roczen in wins. They both have 21 now, right? Because it was Roczen 21, Webb 20 for a long time. Ross said, in my late 30s now, I switched from countless motocross bikes to an off-road by two-stroke, and I'm having more fun than ever riding trails instead of the track. See, I'm too competitive. If I'm going to ride, I got to ride motocross because I want to do laps. I want to feel that progress of getting better and faster and stuff like that. I will say, though, my move this year, because I don't have any bikes right now, I will be getting I'll be getting a supermoto this year. I don't have a lot of time to go out. If I had somewhere that could store a bike for me at the track, like if I could just ride to a place and throw open the doors to like a pole barn and my bike already be sitting there and I just put my gear on and ride it, and then at the end of the day I just pull it back in that pole barn, I would get another dirt bike. But by the time I'm done doing any of the stuff I'm doing, like you gotta load up, most of you guys can probably feel me, it's just a lot of baggage that goes with getting into the riding part, and I just don't have time for it right now. You know what I mean? Have you tried arena cross? I have not, Ashton. I have not. I wouldn't. I don't want to. We all want to know. I know, Michael, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if that existed, if like I could make friends with somebody that owns one of the tracks, and I would pay them to store my bike there. They don't have to wash or anything. Just let me park it there. I would do that. But yeah, I had a CRF 250L, for a few years, and I sold it in 2020 because the pandemic was very difficult on my small business. Which, you know what, in a roundabout way, it all kind of worked out because that is what led to me being able to have time and take this roto thing more seriously. And obviously it's paying off and I really like it. But I want to get another supermoto because now I live in an area where I'm like, God, I really wish I could just hop on a bike and go run these errands really quick. So hopefully I'll have one of those around the spring. Off topic, but I love that tattoo. Ashton, thank you. It's my favorite. It's my best tattoo. I have my chest to my elbow done, but that's really the only one you ever get to see. Welcome to Riding Dirt Bikes as a 30-year-old. It's hard, man. It's hard. 30 plus crashes. Dude, my very first time back on a dirt bike, that's not true. My second time back on a dirt bike, when I was 29, when I bought a bike again, I freaking cracked a rib. And if any of you have ever done that, you know that it is like the worst because it's an injury that like doesn't hurt that bad, but it just lingered for months, like months, not even falling over. You would just do something random and be like, oh, like it was the absolute worst. And I always seemed to fall over on an area and beat up my ribs, so it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? DRZ 400. I will say, Aaron, I would love to have a Suzuki, but absolutely not. No, I'm not getting a DRZ until they update that thing. That thing is ugly, man, and it's carbureted. I couldn't do it. I'm probably gonna get, a lot of people will give me flack because it's a small engine, but I'm probably gonna get a KLX 230 SM. I know the 230 is small, but it's $4,800 from my local dealer right now, and I hope I can get an even better deal if I can use some of my connections. $4,800 out the door, not out the door, but $4,800 retail. Already has Supermoto wheels on it. The frame is already black. I know that sounds dumb, but just having the frame already be powder coated black, the bike just looks really great, and I'm a slut for aesthetics, so that's it. Got a question for you, which I can't get an answer to. Early 80s Honda factory bikes were called RC. What does RC stand for? That's a great question, and I don't have an answer. It might have just been because there was the CR and the RC. It might have just been a way to differentiate them without doing it too far. I know, like, the YZF 450, the quad version of it was a YFZ 450. I don't know. I will say, I don't know if this, can anybody confirm this or not? I used to have this manual. I was a kid that loved diagrams, and I had a, like, I don't even know, early 90s, late 80s, like, manual for a Honda CR, and it had the CR logo, and it said CR with us, and back then Honda's slogan was "Come Ride with Us," and I'm like, is CR literally for "Come Ride"? Was that the thing, like, "Come Ride with Us"? Or was it just really good marketing? Either way, I always thought it was cool. Racing competition, got it. There you go. Racing cycle, okay. Either way, racing something. Isaac said DRZ is fine if you don't like doing maintenance. I just can't. My thing, Isaac, is, I know this is the joke with Suzuki's forever, but, like, I can't pay what they're asking for a DRZ 400 for 20-year-old tech. Like, at this point, the DRZs are legitimate. It wasn't like 2005 was the first year of the DRZ. Like, just look at this thing. This thing looks like, you can't tell me that this photograph is from 2005. It's the same thing. They haven't changed it at all. It's so bad looking. It's so ugly. Look at these forks, dude. Look at these freaking fork covers. Look at these fork covers. These fork covers are made out of drainage ditches. It's so bad. I hate it so bad. It makes me mad. It legitimately makes me mad. You meet the nicest people in a Honda. Oh yeah, I remember those. Those are some good ones. 4,800. So it would only be like 7,000 out the door. I know, right, Tim? That's how it goes. They don't make the W250 anymore. I actually was looking at that because I was interested in it, but they don't make them new. And I would be fine with buying a used one, but finding stuff like that is actually kind of difficult around here. Yeah, 2021 was the last year they made it. Because I love the look of it. But it is what it is. The added dealer markup and fees are ridiculous. And I will say, Tim, that, like, I will just go in and be like, look, I want it. This is what I want it. I want it out the door for this. Can you do that for me or not? Like, I understand that I got to pay assembly or whatever it is, and the not delivery. Delivery, it's not delivery, but there's a word for it. That's fine. I'll pay that, but I'm not paying anything else, and they won't. Anyone saw RV story about him doing drag racing school? I haven't seen that, Aaron. No. Tell us that who was the biggest surprise tonight. Let me look at the list. I gotta look at some results. Josh Hill. Josh Hill getting 14th was pretty up there for me. Hardy Munoz getting 10th, I think, was really incredible. Again, he had a little bit of help. Bloss wrecked. Jordan Smith wrecked. Hawkins wrecked. I think all three of those guys beat him on an average night, but still, that's ridiculous, you know? They won't update the DRZ for emissions and tax rates. Oh, I never thought of that, Racer. That's a good point. That's a good point. You know what, Doug? Doug, I will say that. You know who surprised me the most? Hayden Deegan. And it's not an easy that's an easy answer. It's not sexy. You might not like it. But Hayden Deegan coming out, hole shotting that heat race, and then literally just convincingly riding all the way to the end, not going crazy, just maintaining the gap was incredibly good. That was incredibly convincing. It was just a nice, convincing thing. I think that no matter how the main event went, that 100% backed up his 4th place last week and just did it. So that was actually very impressive. What do you think about Martin? Jeremy Martin, I think this is where he belongs. Not on a factory bike anymore. The club bike is good, but it's not factory. That's where I think he is. You know, I think he could beat Deegan on a night. I think he could beat Deegan. But I also think he typically loses to Mosman. So I think I think Jeremy is content. He's 30 now. He's right around 30. He might even get over 30 now. And he's here for an outdoor title. He just needs to get through. Just get through the Supercross season, because that's not what he's here to do, you know? Matt just joined. Was Tomac driving fence post with his dad? What's what we talked about? Rumor has it that he was sick, but I don't have that from any good sources or anything like that, so I can't confirm. But I will say that we've all agreed that in every time they showed his face, he just didn't look great. His energy was low and whatever, so maybe he just really wasn't feeling it tonight. Steve Mosman ended up 7th, 51 seconds back. Because you can blame Hunter for putting Mosman on the ground, sure, but that incident was not worth 52 seconds. Zaphod, I think he did crash the second time because Jordan ended up 2 laps down in 15th, so that checks out. Jeremy Beal thread at Daytona. I think so too. God, freaking that Daytona track map. It's fine. It's a good track map. I just wish they would have at least flipped it on its end. You know what I mean? Just literally mirror the track. That would have been cool. Make it exactly the same, but mirror it so all the lefts are rights and the rights are lefts. Daytona would be a good East-West showdown. Can I have tell me if this is an unpopular opinion or not. I want 3 East-West. I either want 1 East-West showdown or I want 3 East-West showdowns. 1 or 3, please. That's what I want. Not 2. 2 is weird. 2 makes it where one coast gets 10 races and one coast only gets 9 races, and I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's fair, especially when we're talking national numbers on the line. We either need 3 East Coast races or just 1. Dan said if you were 2 laps down, you should get black flagged. I don't agree. I wouldn't hate that rule, but I think as many bikes out on the track, you got to remember that this is an entertainment business, first and foremost. Feld owns Supercross. You know what else Feld owns? Monster Jam and Disney on Ice. Entertainment first, and what is the most entertaining thing is as many bikes on the track as possible. It is good business to have that many bikes on the track. If they did the black flag thing, there would have only been 14 bikes on the track at the end of that main event. And that's not interesting. I know that from a TV perspective, where they only follow the leaders or close battles, there's always something to watch. But if you've ever been there in person, especially if your seat is kind of low, you know, it's exciting to just watch everybody come by, to watch every battle, see everybody's style. And if you took that away and only had 14 bikes out there, it would definitely lower the, I think it would lower the experience in the stadium, you know? Suppose you're 2 laps down and you fall in the stand and take the leader out. I mean, I know, Dan, but they don't, like, the same type of thing could happen in NASCAR. Any sport. Can we just say really quick, you know what's really weird to me? When Hayden Deegan, a literal teenager, a minor, a 17-year-old, was leading that heat race. is how incredibly unique it is to motorsports and especially motocross that there are literal teenagers. And I don't mean 18, 19. I mean, there are 16 and 17-year-olds racing professionally. Like, you don't have 16-year-old baseball players or 16-year-old football players playing with the prime cream of the crop guys. You don't have that. It doesn't happen. Basketball is the closest you can get because they'll be like 17, 18, graduate from high school, go straight into the league. But it's just so wild to me that there are literal children, teenagers, racing against the best in the world. And that's just so wild, you know? What's the best track for Daytona? Aaron, you mean like historically? I don't even know. If I'm being honest, I'm not great at remembering track layouts and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure. That's hard, you know? Doug said, I love how they cut away as soon as they... I knew it, Doug. I literally, because me and RotoWife both had Barsha as our all-star, and I literally saw that wide angle of Anderson coming in, and I was like, Barsha's on the ground. I already know that Barsha is on the ground, and I haven't even seen it. I already know. Are you all sure Ricky isn't just pranking us? No, he talked about it. Ashton, he talked about it on the Pulp Show on Monday. If you want to go back and watch it, it's not a very long interview. And he talked about it, and he gave reasons, and they were okay. They were acceptable. I believe him. But it is a little bit of a cop-out. I think a little bit. What Steve said about it, Mathis, I think rings true because this isn't new information. Once upon a time, Supercross had a ton of freedom in what they could do, but the pit lane keeps getting wider, which makes that infield section even smaller, and they have to work around sprinklers, and they have to work around this, and they can't go over there, and there's so many spots now on that infield that they're not allowed to put the track or whatever, that it's just getting increasingly more difficult to make the track unique. That's why they're all kind of looking the same. And I believe that. It's got to be really, really, really frustrating for Ricky to try to come up with a brand new track layout every single year, which is a lot harder than you think it is, when it just keeps getting more and more complicated too. You know, that's got to be a big suck. Tim said pro skateboarders are young. Also, you can go to a skate spot and skate with pros. Can't do that in any other sport. I mean, Tim, to be fair, you can go to Paris and ride with you shouldn't ride with the pros, but it's happened. It was Anderson in 2019, the year he was defending the #1 plate, that he wrecked. He had a crash caused by some idiot, just some local out on the track. So, because there was a big stink around that time of, hey, maybe we should stop letting pros practice on tracks with heathens. And they're right. They're mostly right. But I'm going to wrap it up. It's 11:17 p.m. here, and as much as I love thinking about motocross and talking about motocross, I've been doing it since like 10 this morning. So I'm ready to clock out for the day and go hang out and get a snack and whatever. So I appreciate all of you guys coming out and doing this with me every single time. Reminder that if you want to, you're never obligated, but if you want to support on Patreon, I really appreciate it. $5 is all you need. I do giveaways this month. O'Neill is my sponsor on RotoMoto. They do not sponsor this show, but they do help me out with other stuff. So I got some O'Neill jerseys to give away. This one's for February. So if you want to grab a jersey, I give it away randomly to a person every single month. I'll have some other stuff coming up this year. I don't have it in hand, so I don't want to tell you about it till I have it in hand. But I have some other really cool stuff coming down the pipeline this season. And I just really appreciate it. So thanks for hanging out with me here. And I will see you guys. Yeah, we're going to Oakland next week, back to the West Coast schedule. I understand if you guys don't want to tune in. It's super late for me. The live show starts at 1 a.m. my time, and we usually go till 2 a.m. So I totally understand if you guys can't make it. It's not a big deal. Take care of yourself first. Enjoy your weekends first and foremost. No Control, I really, really appreciate that $10 super chat. Grab a drink on me. I will absolutely have a drink on you. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep it pinned. See you guys.